Whispers Beneath the Morgue. Part 1. The Cadaver Room. I used to think death had a smell I could handle. After 2 years of medical training, I'd become numb to the stench of rot and formalin. My hands didn't even tremble anymore when slicing through skin that was colder than metal. But that changed the night I was reassigned to the basement morgue of Jiangsu Medical University Hospital, a relic from another era, its walls soaked with years of damp and decay. Professor One, the head pathologist, handed me a ring of old brass keys that jingled like tiny bones. His face was unreadable behind his thick glasses. "Lock everything before you leave," he said quietly. "And whatever you do, never open drawer 23 after midnight." He said it the way people tell ghost stories to children, not as a joke, but as a warning. That night, the city drowned in monsoon rain. The ceiling above me groaned, water dripping through cracks like blood through gauze. Down in the morgue, the sound of the storm was muted. Thick, suffocating silence pressed against my ears. At 11:57 p.m., the lights flickered. A single bulb above the autopsy table buzzed faintly, bathing the room in sickly yellow. I turned to log my final report, then froze. Drawer 23 had slid open by itself. Just a few inches, enough for the cold mist inside to breathe out like the sigh of a corpse. Part 2. The Woman in the Freezer. I stood there listening. The freezer's motor hummed, slow and irregular, like a faltering heartbeat. My fingers, pale from the cold, reached for the drawer handle. The metal burned against my skin. Inside lay a young woman. Her skin was ghost pale, smooth as porcelain, lips faintly blue. But her eyes, God, her eyes were open. They weren't glassy or lifeless. They seemed to look at me, through me. The tag, tied to her wrist, fluttered slightly in the draft. Name, Lynn Xiaoro. Age, 26. Cause of death, self-inflicted drowning. Date of admission, July 13th, 2001. That date made no sense. This was 2025, and the paper, crisp, unstained, was too new for a record that old. I leaned closer. A faint droplet of water slid down from her hairline to her temple, as if she'd just been pulled from a river. The air around her reeked faintly of algae and rainwater. Then the lights blinked again, and the drawer slammed shut. I stumbled backward. When I caught my breath and looked again, the handle was locked. My watch read 12 a.m. I told myself it was fatigue, an illusion from working too long without sleep. But in the reflection of the metal drawers, I swore I saw her eyes blink. Part 3. The Files That Don't Exist. The next morning, I went straight to Professor Wen's office. His desk was cluttered with anatomical charts and coffee-stained papers. "Sir," I said, "who is Lynn Xiaoro?" His pen froze mid-sentence. The color drained from his face. "There is no such patient," he said flatly. "Don't ask again." He dismissed me, but his hand shook as he put down the pen. I couldn't let it go. I searched the digital database. Nothing. Then the handwritten logs. Still nothing. Finally, in the basement archive, among stacks of dust and dead files, I found a folder wedged between 2 crumbling ledgers. Label, Project LXR/2001. Inside were photos, grainy black and white images of a woman strapped to a chair, electrodes fixed to her temples. It was her, Lynn Xiaoro. Each image was labeled Procedure Number 1, Procedure #2, up to Procedure Number 7. The final note read, "Neural resonance persists beyond cessation of cardiac activity. Subject exhibits post-mortem cognition. Containment mandatory." My stomach turned. Post-mortem cognition. A brain that refuses to die. That night, I dreamed of her again. Her pale face rising from a pool of black water, her hair floating around her like seaweed. When she opened her mouth, my name poured out in a bubbling whisper. Part 4. The Voices Below. 3 nights later, the power went out again. The emergency lights flickered red like a warning pulse. I tried to focus on paperwork, ignoring the humming freezers. But then, from the ceiling speaker, a voice slipped through the static. Soft, fragile, female. "Please, help me breathe." I froze. The intercom system hadn't worked in years. I ripped the cord from the wall. The voice didn't stop. It grew clearer, closer, whispering not into the room, but inside my skull. I stumbled toward drawer 23. The lock was undone, the metal slick with condensation. The air vibrated faintly, as though something behind it was alive. The old telephone on the wall began to ring, its tone distorted, deep, like a pulse underwater. When I picked up, there was a hiss, and then, "You shouldn't have opened the file." The line went dead. The drawer slammed open so violently the sound made my ears ring. But Lin Xiaorong's body was gone. Only a pool of water remained, seeping across the tile floor. Part 5, The Experiment. I ran upstairs, heart hammering. Professor Wen's office door was ajar. The air inside smelled like ozone and blood. Charts covered the walls, brainwave scans, strange circular symbols. On his desk was a dusty cassette player. A tape sat beside it, labeled Session 8, Subject Reactivation. I pressed play. Static filled the room. Then came Wen's tired voice. Subject demonstrates recurring patterns of consciousness post-mortem, transmitting coherent words through electromagnetic interference. Then a second voice, female, gurgling, echoing through the static. "You made me die twice." A scream followed. Not human. Metal twisting, something breaking. The recording cut off. "Looking for me?" I spun around. Professor Wen stood in the doorway, his skin waxy, veins shadowed black beneath it. His eyes were blank like glass marbles. "You've seen too much," he said, voice trembling. "She's awake now. She needs another host." His lips twitched in something like a smile. "And you, open her door." The lights burst overhead. My body convulsed. My vision fractured into flashing reds and whites. Somewhere between heartbeats, I heard her whisper, close to my ear, "Breathe for me." Then everything went dark. Part 6, The Morgue That Breathes. When I woke, the hospital was silent. My head pounded like someone had hammered nails into it. I staggered to a mirror hanging crookedly above the sink. My reflection blinked a second too slow. My pupils were dilated, almost milky. My heartbeat was faint, like a fading signal. On my chest, my name tag gleamed under the flickering light. But the letters had changed. Dr. Lin Xiaorong, Neurology Department. I laughed, or tried to. The sound came out wrong, too soft, too high. My hands trembled. They were my hands. Smaller, paler. A wave of cold air crawled down the hallway. I followed it back to the morgue. Drawer 23 was open again. Empty. But above it, condensation had formed words across the metal surface. 5 shaky letters. "Thank you." I turned to run, but the elevator only descended. The digital panel showed numbers that didn't exist. -3, -4, -9. When the doors opened, I found myself in a corridor lined with identical drawers. Hundreds of them, each labeled with names I didn't recognize. Some rattled softly, as if something inside was moving. I pressed my ear to one. Beneath the thin metal, I heard faint breathing. In another, a whisper, "Please, don't let me wake up again." The air was freezing, but sweat trickled down my back. I realized I wasn't breathing anymore, and yet I was still standing. The intercom above me crackled to life. A voice, my old voice, spoke softly, "Please let me out." Then the freezers began to hum in unison. The morgue was breathing. Now I understand what one meant. Drawer 23 doesn't hold the dead. It holds the ones who are still thinking, still remembering, still alive inside their bodies. And one of them is me. When the lights go out again, I'll open the drawer one last time, because I hear her heartbeat, and it's inside my chest. Epilogue. The Jiangsu Medical University Hospital was demolished in 2012. But before the final implosion, construction workers reported blackouts, hallucinations, and whispers echoing through the sub-basement that was never officially listed in the blueprints. One worker said he found an old name tag buried in the rubble. It read, "Dr. Lin Xiaorong, Pathology Unit." He swore the plastic was still warm. Another claimed he saw a reflection in the last remaining freezer door. A woman in a white coat, hair floating as though underwater, lips moving silently. When asked what she was saying, the worker hesitated, eyes glazed with terror. she said. He whispered. She can still hear the heartbeat.